going on? It's your boy Mike Maul. This is the Mullet Over Podcast. Today, we talking to the boy, the homie, the one and only, my dude, my bro from another mother. You feel me? Y'all know what it is. Welcome, Chris James, to the Mullet Over Podcast. Let's go.
Man, what it do?
Hey, we on here now, man.
Hey, thank you for inviting me. I've been wanting to come on for a minute now. Appreciate it.
We on here. We got a lot to talk about. We got a lot to cover. This is the Mullet Over Podcast. So we take situations in life and we just maul it over. And today, my brother, man, we just had an epic time out with the homies, just enjoying California life. Chris invited us out for a special celebration of our brother Javen. It was epic, you know what I'm saying? He brought 40 in like none other. This man has a heart that is huge. I mean, it's ginormous. But before we get into all that, Chris, introduce yourself. And we're gonna just take some angles from that point.
Man, so as he already said, my name is Chris James. I'm from Akron, Ohio. Now I'm from Akron.
Yeah, that's right.
Man, me and Mike go back way. Man, years back. Oh man, I was born in Dallas. I moved to Ohio when I was like 9. Pretty much. Was raised all the way through, graduating high school in Ohio. Then, went to college. And then basically after that, shifted out and moved out to Cali, man. I came out in 2007 and been out there ever since, man. And pretty much just been, I do a little bit, well, not a little bit, but, I do real estate, got a few other endeavors going. But the biggest thing for me is, real estate for the most part. Knew I wanted to get into that like when I was like, use some jobs, man. I tell people all the time, man, there's nothing wrong with working for a company, man. You just got to make sure you use them versus them using you. So I did that as to my best ability, man. And, by the grace of God, man, allowed me to obtain some things, years ago. But, again, it starts there, put the plan together and, man, you can make it happen. So. And that's what it was, man. And the rest of it is just hard work, man. Just hard work, man. Hard work.
All right, so cool. That's cool. Look, you say hard work.
Hard, Mike. Hard
work. Like we're gonna we'll talk about the real estate for a second, for a few. So you said when you was 15, you decided real estate was a good move for you. Like, what even gave you it?
Yeah, let me correct that. My bad. Let me correct that a little bit. So when I was 15, my brother he was in college. So he had just bought a new car. And so I wanted his old car because, he wasn't doing nothing with it. So he came home one semester, car for free. If you read this book by Robert Kiyosaki called Rich Dad, Poor Dad. So I'm like, all right, cool, bet. So he gave me the book, and I'm thinking he ain't read this book. So he went back to school. He said, when I come back, I'll give you the car. I was like, cool. So he came back. I was like, hey, man, I read the book. He was asking me questions. And I was like, shit, I ain't read this book, right? So he's like, look, I'm gonna give you one more chance. He's like, I'm coming back. If you have the book read, by the time I come back in the summer, I'll give you the car. And man, I memorized that book. Like I memorized that.
You really tapped into that book.
Hell yeah. I wanted the car. I'm like I said, I wanted that damn car. I'm like, shit, I'm gonna be like a sophomore in school driving. So I'm like, yeah, I want this car. And he was giving it to me for free. So I was like, hell yeah. So
yeah, you can't beat that.
Man. And at the time, in Akron, man, you had a car that was like freedom. So,
you were set. You could do everything.
My God, man.
Hey, you was making it. Every time the boot scooting saloon opened up, we could go up there.
Hey, you already know, man. Hey, that was back for gas, and we gone.
Yeah,
Shit. Oh,
$5, we was Gucci.
yeah, man.
And
You couldn't beat
that's
that
so
89
you
cent
read
gas.
the book.
So now I read the
And your
book.
brother, so initially, so the thanks and the shout out and the homage go to the brother for even instilling in you to want to read the book, even though you didn't want to read it. You like, hey man, I'm young, like a lot of young cats. I ain't about to read this book for real. I'm gonna skim it, try to get a couple gems out of it real quick, and then I'm gonna just act like I read it to get the Cliff Notes version. Bro,
Oh,
like, you got to really tap into this book, and then I'll give it to you.
call me out on it, Mike. Like, call me out. Like, I had that book highlighted, pages like bent over. I mean, it was like, yeah, I don't know where I did it, but I had it for like years too, because I used to show people, like, look, like, and I was actually still go back to the book, which was kind of crazy. But yeah, so, he realized I actually knew the book more than he did. So he gave me the car, man. And so at the time, I still wasn't thinking nothing about real estate. I was like, cool, I got the car. Again, I'm young, 16, 17 years old. And then what ended up happening was I got into be a freshman in school. When you get a freshman, man, they was easy. Like, here you go, here you go, here you go. Everybody was getting them, it's like, boom. So I never forget it, man. So like all my boys, we all got credit card. We got like $5,000 credit card lines, right? And we were just, they was like just, again, you in college,
we
so
they
spending it on.
We young and dumb. It's like, hey, what? Let's go get the girls at the end of the day.
Oh my God, man! I had niggas coming back with speakers. I mean, all type of stuff. Like, nigga, what you doing with that? But so I took my. It was crazy, but I took mine, man, and I did a $2,500 cash advance, bought a duplex in Akron on Derbydale for
What?
$60,000 duplex. I put 5%.
Hey, this is knowledge to me, y'all, right here. He dropping jewels on me with this one. Go ahead.
I took $2,500 off, had a few extra, like few dollars, and I bought a duplex for $60,000. And it's funny because I still have it to this day. But so yeah, I bought the duplex. I was renting it out for like the time it was like $450 a side. So I was basically I was getting about $900 in rent. The mortgage payment was like $235. So I'm a freshman in school, and I'm like, man, this is cool. I'm making $700, $600. Oh man, I'm loving it, right? So I sat back and just kind of did that all the way throughout college, and then I moved to Cali, and then when I moved to Cali, I got a job and started making like real good money, and I was like, man, what am I gonna do with this cash now that I'm kind of making some money? And I was like, man, I'm about to go up and start buying more real estate. So basically, I was taking like this is where I tell people about like delayed gratification. Because again, now I'm like, 22, 23 years old, and I'm like this young kid making over $100,000 where, I still have some friends out in Cali that was making similar, and they was bar hopping, drinking, buying cars, like all this stuff. And my head was down, and all I was doing was taking all the money, and I was going back and I was just buying real estate. And then
that was a good time to buy too. Whew.
Oh man, it was a great time. And then grace of God, at that same job, I met my business partner. His name is Demetrius. Akron. He kept saying, man, you got to go to Dayton, man. You got to go to Dayton, Ohio. I'm like, man, Dayton, Ohio? I hadn't even really heard of Dayton. I was like, what the hell is, He's like, go. And I'll never forget this trip, Mike. So I was a publishing manager. So there was a conference. It was in Green Bay, Wisconsin. And they was flying. And I was like, man, I want to see if they'll give me a layover in Dayton. And the flight made no sense. So I call our little travel agent who books for the company. I was like, hey, can you give me a layover? I need like a 6-hour layover. She's like, all right. So she flew me from like LA and then it went from like Texas to Dayton. Then it went from like Dayton to Charlotte. And then it was like Charlotte to Green Bay, because Green Bay is where I needed to go. It made no sense, right? But long
You
story
just
short,
all over the place.
I had a 6-hour layover, like about yeah, and I rented a car and I drove the whole city of Dayton. Whole city, I was everywhere. I had never been before. And when I talk about perspective, this is what I mean. The whole city was boarded up, like blocks. It was like the whole block was boarded up. And to a lot of people, if they would have driven that same street, hell is this? I ain't buying nothing over here. This whole block boarded up. They would have been like, they would have been out. They'd been like, oh, no, this ain't worth investing. And I'll never forget, I came back to Cali and I told my business partner, I was like, bro, man, we got to buy in Dayton. He's like, man, what you see? I said, everything is for sale, right?
It's open. It's a sweet spot.
Oh my God, man. So I'll never get it. So then I bought my first house out there, man. We started off in Dayton doing the BRRRR method, which is basically where you buy a place, you fix it up, you refinance it, like cash out, refinance it, and then you buy and you take the money and then you buy another place. So you kind of do that back to back to back.
Right.
So we did like 4 deals like that. My deals were very nice, simple. I paid like $16,000 for a house. I put in my first property, I put 10 grand in it, and then I refinanced it at $6. So I pulled out roughly about maybe like $35,000 is what I pulled out on just that particular property. And then I rented it out.
Right.
So the tenant's paying the rent. I'm not paying any rent on it. And then I get, that I'm pulling out cash to put in my pocket.
You're making residual income.
So I did that. At the time, because I was pulling out so much cash, I was probably making only about $50 a month, but I had the cash in my pocket. So I did that. Technically, I did it 6 times, but I did it 5 times successfully. And then the market crashed. Like that's the whole market. It crashed on us. So the first people that really get affected was investors, because they blamed it on us. They said, oh man, the investors and all this. So they took away all those programs. We couldn't do it anymore. So luckily, every time I was pulling cash out, I was stacking it, So when the market crashed, I'm sitting here like, damn, what am I gonna do now? I got 100 grand cash, but I can't get no more loans. What am I gonna do? And those same properties I was buying for like 16,000-ish, man, them damn properties dropped to like 4 grand, 5 grand. There was no more investors. There was nobody else buying, So me and my partner was like, well, shoot, let's just start paying cash. And so we kept going. So we buy now, instead of us, using bank money and all that, we just started buying cash, and then kept building and building and building, man. And then it just kind of took off from there. But, kind of going back a little bit when I was talking about like, hard work, man, getting started wasn't easy. It wasn't, man. Like,
yeah, that took a lot of.
There were a lot of nights because I was self-taught. So you're talking about I didn't have nobody to teach me. I didn't have nobody to train me. I read a few books. I was going to all those real estate seminars. Man, I was getting pissed off. They were kicking me out of a few of them because the real estate seminars would give you just enough, and then they say, "All right, buy my course for $10,000, and I'll teach you." And I'm like, man, I don't got no $10,000 to spend on this course. So I had to literally just, I had to just jump in. And this is one of the biggest advices that I give people, man, is like, you got to jump in. Everybody, they talk a big game. They try to plan and don't, you got to do your homework. But man, there has to come a point where you just got to do it. Like, forget all the naysayers, forget all the, the doubt, the fear and all that. And you just got to jump in and do it. And until you do that, everything else is just, it's pointless, preparing for a bunch of stuff that you're not even going to put your foot into the fight to even use. So, there was a lot, man, And I don't ever call it failure. I will tell you, I can look back, I can tell you, I would do a lot of things differently, because for me, failure is when you quit, and so for me, I look at everything as a mistake. You know, like, oh, okay, I didn't know that. If you don't know something, it's a mistake, you know, and you don't do it again. But now I know. So
It's like bumping your head. You learned. All right, I know what not to do now.
yeah, you know what not to do, and you keep going. But it was, I mean, you know, I was in my entire 20s, man. I was inside. You know, everybody else was living their
Ain't
life.
that the truth? He was ducked off.
Ain't nobody here. And they was like, bro, where you been? I'm like, man, I've been grinding. And I say this all the time to people who, especially entrepreneurs, people who want to get into entrepreneur stuff, is that, man, you have to disappear from life. Like you got to, whatever it is that you are actually trying to do, you have to, that has to consume you, you know. But the problem is that there's so many outside distractions that's affecting people greatness. So like you have to block all that out, man. You can't hang out with the boys or the girls. You can't be going to the clubs. You got to hit them trips. You got to push that to the side. I mean, you just have to, you know, because all that other stuff, all it's going to do is just pick away at what it is. Your hardest time ever is when you're trying to build it. After it's built, you good. But when you're trying to build something, you can't have any other distractions because it takes up all your time. So
Yeah, you got to be disciplined. So let me ask you this. So during all this time you were building and growing this, you had life turmoils happening at the same time. You was
same
going through a
time.
lot of here and there. And how did you deal with, that and trying to stay focused, even though there were times when everything was working against you, it seemed like, and you managed to still persevere and push through that?
Man, that's a good question, Mike. Like in the midst of me building this, I had gotten married and was going through a divorce all within like that same span. And what's crazy about it is it wasn't that my ex-wife was bad. I was so focused on building my company that anybody, you could have put Holly Berry in front of me. She would have gotten the same mistreatment from me because all my attention was going towards building this business. But I mean, it affected me. I don't know anybody who can go through a divorce and be like, oh, that, you know, mess up your mental state. But that's just how in tune I was, though, man. It was like there was nothing that, you know, could shut me out. There was nothing that could get to me. You know, my business partner would always say it like, I've never seen Chris, you know, I've never seen something stop him because I've been hit with so many things, man. I'm talking, and all I would do was give me 24 hours sleep on it, and I would figure out another way around it. You know, I'm like, oh, okay, I can't do it that way. Let me do it this way. So again, it just goes back to how bad do you want it? You know, and again, I'm living proof. I mean, of going through a divorce, through, you know, loss, you know, somebody passing in the family and just, but still being able to say, you know what, I got to keep my head straight. I got to keep going. And the biggest advice I can give and to help people through that is you got to know what you're doing it. For me, the reason I wanted to do real estate was because I didn't want to have to work my entire life. I wanted to make it a choice. So I wanted to have my own financial independence. And I say this all the time. Nobody until you have control of your time. Until you have 100% control of your time, you're not free. So money doesn't make you free because I know people that make a lot of money, but all their time is invested into making that money. So for me, I can go sit my ass on a beach somewhere for 30 days and my money's going to clock in on the 3rd every single month without me having to do nothing. Matter of fact, it just hit yesterday at midnight. So and I have to do nothing. I just woke up and went, oh, okay, cool. Thank you, Section 8. You know, that's what I wanted. And that's what my dream was. And I knew, you know, for my kids, like it's generational wealth. You know, I come from a household where, you know, we didn't have that. You know, my parents are heavy education, you know, driven. They were 9 to 5ers. My mama would tell you, when I told her I was moving to college, she was like an intervention on my ass. Like, no, you ain't going way out there. What you doing? You know. So it's like they're super safe, bro. And don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with that. But I mean, everybody has. How many times have you seen a company go out of business? You know, that same job I told you I was making $100,000 in business. You know, and there's been other jobs that are out of business. So I mean, the biggest thing for me was I wanted to have my own control. So that's what I was doing it for. That's what the passion was, and that's why no matter what was in front of me, I was like, nah, you ain't stopping this. The end goal is at the end of the day, and that's what you got to find. Like whatever it is someone out there is trying to do, you got to find out why you doing it, what's your passion, and that has to be what motivates you to get through those
Yeah.
things.
I have an episode actually on the podcast in the early season. I think season 1 or 2. I think it was season 1. It's called "Find Your Why." Like,
Mm,
why do you do what you do? What motivates you? I often preach it to my son too, with sports and everything. I say, hey, what are you doing this for? Your why has to be bigger than just you. It's like,
yeah,
what are you trying to do? Because if it's just for you, you can say, all right, I'm done, and it doesn't affect anyone. But if
yeah,
it's a why that you're doing for the love of something or someone else, or you trying to, like me, my why do I want to be successful? Because I want to be able to pass something down to my kids. Why do I do this podcast? Because one day when I'm no longer here, I know that the internet will still remain. So whenever someone needs advice or needs know-how, they can come back to the Mull It Over podcast and say, let me see what kind of jewels dad was dropping, granddad was dropping, great
yeah,
granddad was dropping.
yeah,
He was laying something down. Who was on his show? Chris James was on his show. I wanted the kids to be able to reach out and grab something tangible and say, look, this is him and this is what he was about. So my
yeah,
why is always not ever going to be about me per se. It's about putting my kids to the next level in the church. Our pastor teaches, let our what is it, let our ceiling, pretty much, I'm gonna paraphrase it, but let our ceiling be the next generation's platform. So
mm,
where we stop at, let the next generation build off and go higher. And
yeah,
that's what it's all about, because biblically it says a good man leaves an inheritance for his children's children.
mm,
So we got to be able to leave something for the kids to be able to grow with and go with. Because
yeah,
like you were saying earlier, a lot of times people want you to buy, and they say something that I really can't stand. I can't stand when people say you got to get it out the mud like I did. We've seen this time and time again on reality shows and all
yeah,
that. And my theory is if you already went into the mud and did all that grimy digging and dirty work, I'm not necessarily saying give me the handout. I'm saying give me a hand up. Don't
yeah,
just tell me what to do. Because if you tell me, they say you take a man take you fishing. Well, if he do all the fishing, he just bring him in. Well, you see him catch fish. But if he
mhm,
give you the rod and show you how to throw it in and lower your bait and put your jigger on the line and everything, then guess what? Now you can become a fisherman and now you can make it yourself. So, with that being said, how are we impacting the youth so that instead of us just saying, hey, we went through the mud, so you do too? No, I went through the mud.
yeah,
Grab my hand. Let me pull you out of that and put you in the right perspective. Now, what you do with what I give you, that's a whole nother story. But don't say I didn't give it to you.
give it,
You know what I'm
mhm,
saying? So that's the goal in all of what we do right now. Even from knowing you, you always pushing it forward. You want your girls to be, hey, look, this is what dad left us. This is what we got. This is what we can build. Hey, we going to school because we want to supersede. I know you and me, we want our kids to outdo us by a large margin.
oh yeah, yeah,
Don't do it. Do what I did and take it 10 times further. Like if,
exactly,
if I made 1 million, you go make 1 billion.
yeah,
I'm gonna
yeah,
love it every step of the way. You
yeah,
know what I'm saying? And that's where we have to be. That's
yeah,
what that's what especially us as black men,
oh,
because it's hard to pour into black men.
it is,
And with us, one of my main focuses of everything is black men and black men's mental health. As I
mm,
said in a lot of other podcasts, we often suffer in silence.
Mm,
So a lot can be going on, and we look like, we resilient. We
yeah.
got it. But inside,
Mhm.
we broken up into pieces, and we can't pour out into nobody, which is why
Yeah.
I'm happy that we have friends and a friendship connection that we can reach out to each other. Anytime I cannot talk to Chris for a long time, we see Chris, it's love.
Yeah.
It's always love. It's all,
Yeah.
hey, you ain't gonna do that. And it's always gonna be the same thing here. Hey, what you mean you get in the hotel? No, you coming to my house, man. Don't even worry about that.
Yeah.
It's always covered. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? That's how it's supposed to be, but we don't have that now. A lot of people don't have that. A lot of people never seen men be men.
Yeah.
They only seen a dad that might, if you had a dad, a lot of us, he was just more like he didn't know no better. I'm not gonna blame him. I'm gonna say a lot of things he just didn't know because a lot of times
Yeah.
he didn't have privy to information that may have been out there, or he didn't think that he could do more. Whereas with our friendship circle, I've never had anybody in my circle really tell me I couldn't do something.
Yeah.
Like, you can't do that. No, yes, you can. And I got people that's gonna always push
Yeah.
me. In my close circle, my friends ain't gonna let, if I'm doing something, I'm sinking, they not gonna let me sink. I got
No.
a thing to say. Either they pushing you forward or they pulling you backwards. Because even if they let you stay in the same place, since time is a constant, that means they're letting you fail. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's the only options we got in this life. And just, talking to you, kicking it, having a good time, we have learned, and I have picked up so many gems and jewels from you. So I say that to say, what is a gem or a jewel in the real estate game that
Ooh.
a lot of, like, okay, I don't want to lay on too much on them. I just want to give them a little nugget. We got to have something to talk about in the next one, but I'm gonna ask for a nugget that people sleep on because they have lack of knowledge.
All right,
Give us
man.
some
So
quick education.
I'm actually gonna go deep on this because what you're doing right now, I have literally, this is crazy how this is playing out, but I literally have been telling myself for years, I will give whatever information I have for free. And I know right now, like I said, you go to
You
all the
always said
you
that.
hear about, and everybody want to charge like for free. So I'm names of y'all listening. Write this shit down. I'm gonna give you actual names that you can literally, when we get off this podcast, you can literally go to their website and you can call them right now, and you can do it. So here we go. So get the out your head. You don't. I'm gonna put you on game right now. All right, everybody, write this down. Cogo Capital, COGO Capital. Okay, what they are a hard money private money lending institute. Nobody's personal name. They only lend it under LLCs. They don't care about your credit. I'm gonna repeat that. They do not care about your credit. If you have a 480 credit score, they don't care. Okay, so I want to be very clear when I state that. So is they will fund investor or invest it's investment properties. Okay. So again, for it to be classified as investment property, that means you're not living in it and it's being closed underneath an LLC. I'm gonna break this whole thing down to you. So obviously you got two different ways in which you can do real estate, or just talk about the two most common ones. You can do fix or flip, and you can do buy and hold. Okay, as I was mentioning, everything I was kind of mentioning to you was more buy and hold strategy, but you got fix and flip strategies as well too. So they do both. So if you got a property, you want to go buy it, and it's a duplex, they only go up to 4 units, complexes, but they will fund the property and literally do all the financing. Now here's the trick: they lend up to 70% ARV. So what ARV means is after. Okay, so I'm gonna break this down for you real easy. Let's say right now I have a property. The current value of the property, let's just say, is $20,000. Let's just say. But if I was to fix that property up, that property would be worth $100,000. Okay. So now that's what they're going to go off if their big number is off of $100,000. They're going to lend 70% of that value. So we're going to go backwards, right? So that means they're going to give me $70,000 is essentially what they're going to give me because it's worth $100,000. All right. Now, don't quote me 100% on this. I'm just using this for easy numbers. Let's just say their fee to do everything that they're going to do, let's just say it's $5,000. All right. So that's what you're paying them essentially, which is coming out of the loan. So that's 70 minus 5, that's 65,000. Remember, the property is going to cost us 20,000 to buy it. So we're going to subtract the 20. So now I'm at $45,000. So essentially, I have to repair this property. I have a budget of $45,000 to fix this property. Okay? Backwards, right? The reason I count it backwards is because as long as I can get this property fixed up for $45,000 or less, they are going to give me all the money. Period. I put no money down.
Oh.
No, a dime. The only time I would have to come out of my pocket to put money down is if for whatever reason that property, let's say the property was going to take, more than 45,000. Let's say it was going to take 65. Then I got to pay the difference. But for me, that's not a deal because I'm okay. So I'm giving you,
okay.
This is not nothing that you can literally do this right now. Like this is right now, today numbers. I'm giving it to you. You don't have to go nowhere. You can literally, like I said, if I Google it, Kogo Cap, recall them. They'll close you all day long. Okay. So this is something that I tell people all the time because the number one question I get asked, number two question I get asked is, how do you do it? The number one question I get asked is, well, how do you find the deal? And I'll go into detail about that too. But I just want to give this information out. Y'all can share it as much as you want, but I have utilized them. They are a great company. And again, this is a few requirements. You got to have an LLC. Now, if you live in Ohio, if you live anywhere, it doesn't matter. An LLC is, I think I pay $99, I believe. I'd go right on to the, it's right through Ohio.
$80 through Ohio. I thought it was 88.
It's cheap. You farmed in like 3 days. You don't have to go and pay no $1,000 and do and this is the part of this that I always tell people, man, is do your homework. Do your homework. Don't live through somebody like this stuff is not that difficult. It's just that people are so afraid to just go and just figure something out and do it. But you can see, I can log on right now, create it, fill out the form online. And in 3 business days, my LLC will be legit, officially formed on the on the state license website. Done. And now you got your LLC. And you can take that and go right online to the irs.gov. And if you want to do an EIN number, you can have your own EIN number. And now guess what? Go right down to a bank, open up a bank account, Navy Federal Bank. Navy Federal Bank. Open if you don't have a Navy Federal account, but you know somebody that does you, because you do have to know somebody that's either a military or you have to have somebody in military family. But Navy Federal Bank, oh my gosh, they are amazing. They are amazing. They are amazing. So get linked up with Navy Federal, open you up a business account with Navy Federal. Right off the bat, Navy Federal, they give very high credit. So business credit cards. We're gonna talk about credit too here in a second. But business credit cards, not personal, business. The reason why you need to have an LLC and the EIN number is so you can start putting stuff in business name. You don't need stuff in your personal name. You need it in your, all right? I got cars that I had put zero down. They lease through my business. Everything, is through my business. So again, but Kogo Capital, Navy Federal, I'm telling you, they are amazing. You can literally get started in real estate tonight. So another quick one I'll give you is everybody says, well, how do you find your
You
deals?
might just go get started tonight.
I'm just
I'm,
letting people know
I
it's
might
not.
have to tap in real quick.
I'm just telling you. So now the next question is how do you find the deals? And I'll be honest with you, right now it's a great time. It is one of the best times because the interest rates are so high. Again, what you have to always remember is this. You got to do the opposite. And remember this in real estate. When everybody's buying, you need to be selling. When everybody's to be buying. And right now, okay, nobody is buying because the interest rates are so high. So guess what's happening with the market? The prices are dropping. This is the time to buy because for the longest, the government's been trying to control the real estate market. They thought when COVID happened, everybody and their mama thought that. Well, let me just tell y'all something. My rent doubled in COVID. I was only getting $850 somewhere around there for a 3-bedroom house from 2000 and still basically almost 2019. I mean, it was hovering right around the 7 to 850 mark. Those same properties are renting for minimum right now. I mean, my lowest rent is 14. Some of those are going for almost $1,600. And that's what the market is today right now. It literally to double. So my income literally doubled. And to me, it was overnight, but COVID was what, 2 years roughly? So
Yeah.
My point in saying that is that right now, everybody thought the market was going to crash. The government was trying its best to demand. And now they finally have succeeded. But they've succeeded, in my opinion, by doing the best thing that they could do, which is control the interest rates. Because guess what's going to happen? When the interest rates start going back down, what do you think is going to happen to the market? It's going to skyrocket. He's waiting for that. And guess who else is waiting? I am too. Because all these little properties I've been acquiring, I can, if I want to, I can offload when the market just takes off. And you're talking about 3-4 times my money right then and there.
Yeah.
So again, this is the time. Naysayers, don't listen to people. This is the time. So
let me ask you this real quick. I ain't gonna interrupt, but let me say this. Is it better to buy a property and hold it as rental property, or is it better to buy and flip it?
Good question.
Get rid of it.
So I told you how I got started because I wanted to build some capital. So I did the Bird method. I bought it, refinanced it. So I essentially kept the property, but I was still pulling money out of it. That property, I mean, that method per se, I wouldn't suggest that all the way. They don't do a lot of cash out refinancing like that anymore with investors. So I think that method is a little, I mean, it still exists, but it's not as popular as it was back in the day. But I personally would tell you it depends on financially where you're at. And here's what I mean by that. And if you don't necessarily need the money right now, and I mean that to say that, like, yes, I want to get into real estate, but it's like I got a good job, I can pay my bills, I would tell you buy and hold. I would tell you this is because essentially you got to think of like your 401k. People ask me all the time, do you invest? Do you have a 401k? No, I don't. I don't need one. I have my real estate portfolio as my 401k. You know, so essentially just think of it long term like that. It's producing you cash flow over a period of time that if you don't even need it right now, it's even better because you can just steadily. Now, if you need money, I have a job that I don't like, barely meeting ends, then flipping is a great way because you can actually make quite a bit of capital flipping. I will tell you that a lot of the millionaires and billionaires out there, they that's what they did. They that and bought more and bought more. Key things keep in mind with flipping, you gotta pay your capital gains tax. Okay, so there's tax implications. I'm not gonna get into that. Y'all can go do y'all's homework on that part of it. But you know, so you just got to keep that in mind. So I think it's a question where you have to look at yourself. And there's nothing wrong with flipping 2 or 3 properties, getting some money in the bank, and then basically saying, boom, I'm going to take off and build my rental portfolio from there. But again, I gave you the jewel of Kogo Capital. So, I mean, you can literally dive right in and find you in a distressed property. Be very clear on that. Distressed property, that's what we look at. All right. We look at abandoned, vacant, divorce. I mean, whatever the situation is, and you will find them out there. Tax delinquent properties. I'm gonna go into your world, Mike. Nuisance properties. Oh, that's my best. Oh my God. Become friends with housing inspectors. They will put you on game. I'm telling you, they will put you on game. But I mean, like, this is how I was finding my deals. Like, literally what I did when I first got started, I just drove the streets, find, properties that were vacant and abandoned. And then I would go and I would research who the owners were. And then I would reach out to them and say, hey, I noticed that your property is vacant and abandoned. I'd love to take it off your hands. Here's something that people sometimes don't know. Even though somebody's walked away from a property, let's say walked away, legally obligated to upkeep that property. So even though they say, I don't want this property, I ain't gonna do with it, they can have it, as long as you legally own it, you legally have to do it, to the point to where you could actually be put in jail because you're fined and you didn't choose to want to pay your fine, then you get a bench warrant. I mean, like, it can go that deep with it. So a lot of times, man, when you find these properties and you reach out and finally find the owner and you contact them, the owners are like, man, take the property. Like, I can tell you right now, I was given 4, listen to me carefully, 4-unit apartment buildings for free. They were on the street that was abandoned, and it was known for drug activity, and they were just boarded up. I reached out. It was an elderly lady, her and her husband. Her husband was like in his 80s at the time. I contacted them and said, hey man, I would love to. I offered them like $1,000 a piece. She says, I'll just give them to you. We don't want. We went down to Chase, did the whole transaction, notarized it, got it all done. And I mean, I had those properties forever. I just recently sold them off, and I sold them they were going like over $200,000 each one. But I got the properties literally for free. And so that's the part of it where it's like just driving the area and writing down addresses and going in and finding out who the owner is. You can go to your county assessor website, type the address in, it'll tell you the owner. Then you got to skip trace the owner. And I mean, again, you can trust me, you can find them. And then, so that was one avenue that I did. The nuisance list I was mentioning to you, I would actually have little postcards. You probably might even get some of these at home. Hey, I'm interested in buying your property. It's my name and number. I was sending out like maybe 100 to 200 of those a week. Got 3 or 4 people that responded. Hey, it was leads. I mean, I'm literally generating leads. So that was another route. Real estate agents, I was reaching out to them. Hey, if you know anybody, let me know. I mentioned housing inspectors. I became known because I was fixing. See, I'm literally revitalizing communities. These are eyesores that should be torn down that the city normally
lights to the neighborhood.
Exactly. And I'm coming in so that housing inspectors would come in and be like, man, I like what you're doing. Hey, they would call me all the time. Hey, there's another property. You might want to look into it. So left and right. And again, I'm getting these pennies on the dollar, man. And I mean, again, I'm giving y'all jewels that y'all can literally go do right now. Because again, when I was doing this, they would give me a little bit and then stop. All right, give me 10,000, give me 15,000, give me 8,000, and I'm gonna mentor you, and I'm gonna do. And I'm like no, no. And I always say I'll give it for free. But again, this one of the things I should have started with this, all this, and even for those of you that aren't even thinking about doing real estate, you already own a business, and I mean, there's so many other entrepreneur, avenues you can go on. It's your mindset, man. It's your mindset. None of this means shit without a mindset, and I have to start
Right.
and stop on the mindset. Like you got where like just this is what you're gonna do, But if you're weak minded, if you're easily broken, I say fear and I break it down. To me, my definition of fear is a false experience appearing to be real. Experience appearing to be real. A lot of people are afraid of stuff they've never been through. They heard somebody say or
Mhm.
they were told this, and then when you say, "Oh man, well, when did you do it?" "Oh, I ain't never done it before." Like you can't do that, And who's in your circle? That is so important. Like I'll be honest with you, I had some friends, and they're still my friends to this day, but I had to separate myself for a period of time because I knew what I needed to do, and you have to be ready. You have to be minded enough to do that. There's nothing bad about them. We still, we still kick it. We still have our good time. But there was a period where I had to remove myself because I knew the distraction that was coming with that. And again, that all goes to mindset. You got to have it. If you don't have it about, I don't care what you're trying to do, and it ain't gonna work. Period. Because you're always gonna have an excuse of why it ain't gonna work. So yeah.
Yeah. Come on, drop them jewels. Talk that talk. Now, okay. So we done talked about the real estate. Now I don't want to get out of here without talking about, something that I think would be we can't act like this didn't happen. And we can't act like my man just said he could take a whole month and go on a trip. So we're not gonna act like he just saying that casually because it's something he wishes he could do. My man just turned 40
Yeah.
and he did 40 huge. I mean, grandiose. I don't even know the words that's big enough to explain. How many folks going to different countries, 3, 4, 5, 6 different countries for a month and a half on a 40th birthday trip? Let's
Oh
talk
man.
about it. This is the Maul It Over podcast. Let's maul it over.
Oh
Hey,
man,
tell us
Mike.
about the trips, though. Tell us about the
Oh
40th birthday celebrations.
man. I don't even know where to begin. So I'll start this. I wasn't gonna do nothing. I'll be honest with you. I was downplaying my 40th. And then my wife was like, it was like October. My 40th was November 29th. So my wife was like, it was like the end of October. And she was like, why are you kind of feeling like, what's wrong? I was kind of like in a funk. It's my 40th. And I just, there were some things I did want to accomplish. I feel like I hadn't accomplished. So I was just like, I wasn't feeling it. And then like November 3rd hit, man. And I said, nah, I got to do this up, man. I got to do this up. So man, my sister, man, she puts this Ghana trip together, and I'm gonna shout her out, Karen James. But she puts this Ghana trip together, man. It's amazing. It really is amazing. So I hit her up like, yo, I need to go to Africa for my 40th, and so she was like, all right, shoot me the dates when you thinking about going there on my birthday. I need to touch the soil of Africa, and I need to be able to say like, look, I am home. So she put it together for me, man. Her and her friend Harriet, man, they put a nice trip together, man. It was about
Oh,
4 nights,
fine.
5 days, man, and it's just like, oh my gosh, I don't want to even call him my tour guide. I call him my cousin, man. He's family to us, man. So anybody who wants to go to Ghana, you can hit me, hit my sister. She's planning another trip. She plans it every like right after Christmas, the 28th through the 2nd, which is like Afrochella time. Amazing, man. We oh my God, we did everything, man, there. And for those of you who have never been to Africa, it is a life-changing experience. We went to Cape Town. We actually went to a real slave castle. castle, like the last spot that our ancestors were held before they got on the boats and never saw the motherland again. I actually, you know how I am. So for those of you that don't know, when I travel, I don't do tourist shit. Okay. So I like to do local stuff. So like literally to the first day, I'm going outside. All right, I'm hitting the streets. She's like, where are you going? I'm like, babe, I'm in Africa. I'm just gonna be walking around the street. So I Ubered to like this little main popular little strip, man. And, my driver got out with me. He was just like making sure I was cool. He's like, man, I'm gonna stay with you. It's like cool. So we went, man. We smoked some hoops, kind of just giving me a little bit of like the history of Ghana. We were in our craw. And oh man, it was amazing, man. The food was amazing. Just the weather was great. It was home, man. It was home. It was home. And so originally that was the trip. 4 nights, 5 days. That was it. Come back home. But for those who really know me, know that like, man, I am a like wildlife, animal planet. Like I am a junkie, man. Like I am a junkie. And the number one thing on my bucket list was a real life safari. I didn't want to do no zoo shit. I didn't want to see no gates. I didn't want to see no fences. I wanted a real life safari. So the wife was like, hey, you're going to be in Africa. Let's just jump over to Tanzania and do Tanzania and do a safari. I was like, you know what? Oh, yeah, let's do it. Uh, so I started looking into like, different safaris and stuff. And I found one, man. It was like this, like, it was the real, like, to the point to where we slept in the Serengeti on like on the ground. We wasn't in no hotel. We were like in the Serengeti, like right there in the middle, in the middle. So from Ghana, we went to Kenya. We had a layover, so we got to explore that a little bit. So it wasn't long, and then from Kenya, we flew over to Tanzania, and we did another 5. And when I tell you, it was, oh my God, I'm talking about. I mean, the first night in our little tent, we had lions, and this is wild lions. I'm just like, literally, we would sleep.
He had Mufasa
And
at the
they were
gate.
like, and you hear them like I was, oh my god, it was some of the most, I mean, yeah. And it was nice because it was kind of like the slow season, so the little tent was actually nice. It was really like a lodge, so you did have a like bathroom and stuff in there, but there was like 10 lodges, but there was only 2 couples. It was me and my wife and another couple. And so we had the whole lodge to ourselves, man. The guys were amazing. So yeah, man, I had it on video, man. They were just right there, man. You could just literally hear them breathing and scratching. And second night, man, we woke up. Buffaloes were just moving the tent left and right, moving the tent left and right. And so then we woke up that next morning. Wife couldn't even go outside because 2 of the buffaloes were literally sleeping at the door. like, like so and then my ass is crazy, so people don't do what I do. So after they kind of throw some rocks, get it to move, my ass got out there and was trying to mess with them. And I'm like 2 feet or about 5 feet from them, trying to scare them and stuff. But it was, Mike, it was amazing, man.
Hey man, I can't wait. We definitely actually me and the wife is planning a trip to do some stuff and go over to Africa here. We were supposed to have some stuff going on through the church, but I think we're gonna go ahead and just book ahead and try to get this experience out the way. I think from what you told me, even when we was in Cali, everybody should take this trip at least once.
Everybody, man. It is, let me just put it this way. What the US portrays Africa to be is completely false. Okay.
Mm.
They show the huts and all of that. And yeah, do they have that? They do. But let me just put it this way. We were in Ghana. They had Rolls Royces driving down the street. They had the Mercedes driving down the street. They had they had estates built it's beautiful over there. That's the thing that I always, when people, the number one question people ask me is, like, like, how do you feel, or, explain it. You can't. You can't. It's an experience that it touches you so much. Funniest story I'll give with this is I had come back. This was in January, and I met a couple of clients, and they were white people. They were like in their 70s. And I was telling them how I just came back from, Ghana, and we were talking about it. And they had been Southern Africa. They had been, I think, Cape Town. And the husband worked for Disney. He was on the board. And so now these are white people, right? I'm like, oh, okay, cool. He was telling me all about Nelson Mandela. They went and saw all of that. And they were like, they were by Africa. He came back and retired off the board of Disney and left stock on the table because he said his life just felt different. Like his walk was now different. And because I'm thinking like, okay, black people, these are white people that were that affected by the experience of Africa. And so I say this to everybody, man. It is an experience, especially to our black people, man. You just have to experience it. You have to experience it. I mean, you just do, man. And so, we're trying to go again. So, open invite to everybody that want to go. I threw the date out there, 28th through the 2nd. But
now, what's sister's info? We're gonna have to get her info so we can definitely add it into the
we're gonna
description and
put
stuff,
her
so
on here and stuff.
Credit for booking
she can
these
definitely
trips and, make sure she gets
absolutely
what she got to
she puts it together, man. Our lodging was amazing, man. Transportation was amazing. They do it. You do the naming ceremony, so everybody gets their name.
So what was your name, Chris? Hold on, slow down. What was your name, Chris?
Kwambi. Wait, oh my God, why am I forgetting my name now? So the way they do it, and I'm gonna mess this up, so I apologize to anybody on there who's been and they know how they do it. It's based off of the day that you were born and the number. Like I was born the 29th and I was born on a Tuesday. So oh my God. It's like Kwambi. Oh my God. Kwamba. Yeah, we're going to, don't worry. It's something like that. Something like this man forever. I just recently took it off. But yeah, but nah, man, it is an experience. It's crazy. Let me just tell you, and this goes back to, let me just say like this. This goes back to why I wanted to create, financial freedom. People don't realize, and what nobody, like y'all don't even know, is I was planning to bring my brothers with me, like pay, because that's just how much I want sisters to go. So and I keep, and again, for those that know me, my friend circle is small because, and we can whole nother conversation, but I keep it small because, my loyalty with my friends is like, if I got it, you got it. And it's no questions asked. The time it is, it can be 3 a.m, 4 a.m, 5 a.m. It don't matter what it is, And it's like, and I feel like, people be like, yeah, man, I got, 50 friends. Nah, I don't know how, because again, you don't really, if you really think about what friend is and a true friend is, man, you fight, you love everything, but no matter what, don't nothing come between it, And so, and this is just another one of those gestures. We're going to get into my brother Jay, because, we just celebrated his 40th.
Definitely.
But this is just another one of those things where it's like, man, I have to have all my brothers and sisters experience, man. So if I can help create that, if I can even help somewhat fund that, that's, to me, is the beauty of it. Like, that's the giving part of this is another aspect to why wanted to do what I wanted to do. And for those where you are successful and you are like you gotta that part of it you have to do. You have to give back. And I'm not saying you have to give money. You can give your time. You can give your knowledge. You can give your experience. You were talking about the youth. I mean, I'm big on that. Especially for black men. They're just looking at athletes and rappers and all that. They don't really see. They don't really understand the success of actual black entrepreneurs or black business people that are doing things. It don't even have to be. It could be a teacher. It could just be something like that. But just they're not accustomed to that. All if you're in a position where that's where you're at, then you got to give back. You have to, because we're lacking it. When you look at all these other races out here, man, that's what they do.
Yeah.
These people, they stick together. Hispanics, Mexicans, they always. I have a friend. It's funny talking real estate. He's from Cali, Mexican guy, very cool guy. His name is Juan. He came out maybe 5 years ago, from the construction field, and I helped him get started. And it's crazy. I literally was just talking to him not too long ago to Dayton, Ohio. I kid you not, 30 friends and family to Dayton, Ohio.
Wow.
And they're out there tearing it up. I mean, all the properties, building them, fixing them, all of them. I mean, they have the skill to do. And that's my point. It wasn't like successful and then was just talking. He literally went, at one point he was driving and carpooling them back to Ohio. But that's how they stick together. Whereas a lot of times, man, we get successful and we just look back, we might talk, but we don't never help pull the next person up. We don't never like, no, come on, bro. I'm gonna put you on. Like, just follow me. Like, we don't do that. And so again, which leads me into my brother Jay.
That's what we headed to right here, real quick. So y'all, real quick, I can't finish off this show without giving respect where it's due. My main man, Javen Roberson, my bro, we've been locked in well over 20 something years. I mean, it's been a long time. Woo, we old for real, but it's been a long time, and Chris thought of Chris and Javen's lady. They came up with this great idea to fly, not just Jay and a couple of Jay's buddies, but his whole family who had never been in Cali at the same time. Some had never been in Cali at all. And they flew everybody out there so that we could have a celebration of life and of growth and of experiences with our bro. And we wanted to give him a memory that you can't buy this stuff. I tell people all the time, the one thing that is invaluable in life is time. So when you can capture a moment of the most priceless thing you will ever have, you capture it in your mind, you will always be able to play it back and see it over and over and be thankful that God has given you an ability, a friendship, a brotherhood, or anything like that that is going to bring you closer to people that's really there for you. They really love you. They're going out of their way to be there with you. They're clearing their calendars to be there with you. And it couldn't have been for a better person. Because if you know Jay is one of the most humble, down to earth, ready to help you. Even if he can't help you, he gonna find a way to get somebody else to help you.
Yeah.
I mean, bro me and him done sat and had many talks. We done sat and talked over life many a times. He done helped me spiritually, mentally, emotionally. He just done dug me out of a lot of places that I can say I was happy to have a friend with me so I could be able to dig myself out of that. I got a few friends, like Chris said, the circle in which we live is very, like Drake said, it could almost be a period. But the people that's inside of that, man, they solid, and we're gonna ride for it. We're gonna go till the wheels fall off of it. So And Chris, we can't thank you enough for letting us even have the opportunity to come out and be a part of that event. Because at the end of the day, we are boys and we go back years and years and years. Like I said, we got time and we got old time in. But it could have been a secluded thing just in Cali. But I'm happy that you had a heart and a vision, and you and Shell to see more and do more and invite everybody to do it.
Oh man, I mean that was easy, man. That was an easy decision. Yeah, the Shell came up with the idea in January,
Yeah.
and I was like, okay, bet I'll help. I was just something wasn't feeling right. I was like, man, nah, this. I mean, I get it, surprise little birthday, but and those of you not know Jay, he gonna figure it out by February. So I was like, I don't just seem like. So then I was like, oh, I like woke up one day and I said, I know what it is. I
Yeah, Jay knows
gotta
best.
get the
That's an
home.
inside joke. Jay knows best.
So yeah, man, it was an easy decision, man. But I mean, you said it, and I'm glad you brought it up. Where it's like time, man. I talk about that too, where it's like people they disrespect time. I'm gonna say
Facts.
it
I
again. They
like that.
disrespect time. They don't value it. They don't really pay attention to it. I mean, I think it was a movie when I can't remember. I think Justin Timberlake was in it, where basically instead of money was a currency, time was a currency.
Oh, I seen that movie. That
So
was a
when you
good
run
movie.
out of
I think it's
time, you
called
die.
In Time. I think it was called
Yeah,
In Time.
yeah, and
That
it's
was a
just
great movie too.
yeah, but the whole idea behind it, I think about it sometimes, where it's like if that was true, people would truly value where they put their time and what they give their time. So Jay, man, I'm like, I wanted it to be something that we could always look back upon, and it would be a memory for life. Because again, I'll just tell this story. I said it at his birthday party. Uh, in 2014, my family put an entire trip together to go see my pops. My pops is from Trinidad and Tobago, so first generation Trinidad. And I was in Cali at the time, and I was going through some mess, whatever, mentally, and I was like, whatever. So my mom was like, come on, I'm gonna fly you out. She bought me a ticket. Oh no, mom, I don't feel like going. So I didn't go. I was the only one that didn't go. And so they went, saw pops. As they were on the flight coming back home, my dad died. It was my mom's birthday as they were flying
Wow.
back, and my dad died. Ever since then, I think about it all the time because in my head, I said, "Oh man, I can, book another flight. I can go see him later." Like that was my excuse during the whole time they were there. I kept telling myself that, not realizing that I didn't even know how much time I had left with them. So, know, fast forward to I was like, I want to make sure that not only are we celebrating my brother, but the entire family is together and creating that memory. Grace of God,
Mhm.
everybody's healthy, nobody's in that type of position right now. But you just never know. Things happen every single day. So that was one of the biggest things that was going through my head, and one of the not death, but more so of just being able to have this moment that I mean, his family had never been
Priceless.
out there. Yeah, they had never been out there. His brothers had come separate trips, and the mom had never been, the dad had never been, and so I was like, oh yeah, Jay ain't gonna figure this one out. He ain't gonna get this one. So, and you mean I was looking back at pictures that I mean, it's one of those things, man. You're gonna be able to look up 5, 6 years from now and be like, man, and that's like you saying, why are you doing it? Whatever, what's your why? Like just being able to see that memory in that moment and being able to see that in life for me is worth it. So I can go all the way back to that Robert Kiyosaki. This is how like
Okay.
deep this could go. We could go right back to the beginning and say, and then I can come all the way back to where I'm at now and say like, this is what you're doing it for. Just to be able to help create a memory like this that will have a lasting life, man. And we had a blast, man. I apologize for Sunday because Saturday night got a little crazy, a little sick.
That's all right, man. It was all right. It was
But
Gucci. Hey, it
oh
worked
man,
like
we
it
had
was
a
supposed
blast,
to.
man. And for those of you who have never been to, well, a lot of you haven't, but yeah, because again, I remember I'm a late bloomer, so I didn't start coming out until my late 30s, late 30s. I was doing something, I was building something. So, I have a good time, man. I make sure my wife will tell you, like, oh my God, like we have, it's fun. It's always gonna be fun times, man. Jokes and laughs.
Epic. It's an epic
Always get,
thing.
man. Always. We lived up to that, man. We lived up to it. But nah, but I just, this is just something that I like to always, tell people, man, is that you got to give people their flowers when they're alive, man. You got to give people their flowers every day because you just never know. So, you gotta, you just have to, for those of you, somebody, or, oh, I'm beefing with so-and-so, man, squash that shit. It ain't worth it. Even if it's like, what, the friendship is over with. Well, that's cool. The friendship can be over with, but you gotta release yourself from it. Like, I had friends that, were still harboring from past relationships, struggles in life and all of that. And like all of that stuff it's just gonna weigh you down. It's gonna prevent you from getting to your true destiny. And again, you got one life to live. One. That's it.
Facts.
That's it. That's just one life. I sometimes I sit back and I'm like, man, like if you got one life to live, why would you want to spend your life in misery? Like why? And ultimately you got to change it. I hear excuse after excuse, and I'm sorry, I call it excuses because again, you're talking to somebody who had nothing. My parents were middle class. We weren't poor, but it wasn't like they said, "Oh, here, Chris, here's $100,000 and go do something."
Right.
I had a friend like that who just paid $1 million and bought him a house. I ain't had that, So it's like I literally, I had to make it work, And there's several examples of out there. I'm sure people listening, probably got their own stories of that, man. And so that's the thing, man. Like people, man, y'all gotta, like, if stop complaining, stop. The easiest thing to do is complain. And I have this saying, man. I love this. Is one of my favorite quotes. I say it all the time, and it basically says, "Whether you think you can or think you're right. Period. If you think you can or think you can't, you're right." And that's how you have to look at it. That's how you have to look at it. So when you get control over your mind and you can start getting some of that negative stuff out, I'm gonna give you another little gem. This is just, I'm not no mental health person, or I don't dive all the way into it.
Right.
I'm gonna give you just a quick little one that I do. I do number counting. It works for me. So like, because it happens. So here's what I mean by that. When I get a negative thought that goes through my head, I immediately start counting 18, 19, 22, 27, 28, 34. Like sometimes you can even see my mouth moving. People are like, "Are you talking to yourself?" But my point in why I'm doing that is because I'm immediately trying to get the negative thought out of my head. So I'm throwing up rant to just get the negative thought out. Because what happens,
change it real quick.
Correct. Because what happens is that when you start thinking negative, it takes control over your entire body. And it's actually, for those of you, and I'm a big component of this, if you haven't done this, this is another one I'm going to tell you. If you can do it, means of doing it, counselor, therapist, whatever you want to call them, they are important. They will help you. They will change your life. I'm telling you, you don't have to be like, back when I was growing up, if you were going to a counselor or a therapist, there was something like wrong, and be like, "Oh, what?" Listen, it works. It works, man. It'll help you out. Because what people don't realize is that our ancestries come from slavery. So what you have to stop and think about is just think about all of that gets and subliminally passed down from generation to generation to generation to generation. It does. And again, when I was talking about going to Africa, when you go, I don't even know how to explain it. I need to post a video. It was the only video of Africa I couldn't. I just.
You do need to post a video.
Let me tell you this. I told my wife, it was the only time in Africa that I left a place and I was angry. Like one of the things when we went through the slave castle, I had one rule.
Yeah.
I can't walk through, and this apologize, this is not an attack against you, but I couldn't walk through with a white person. I needed to walk through it. I was so angry going through it, But then again, you got to learn your history, because not all slaves were done by white slaves. There were some black slaves that were actually done as well too. It's a whole history class of that.
Oh, yeah.
But when you get to the slave castle, when you get to the slave castle, they actually have a plaque where they're apologizing for that. The Ghanaians, is apologizing to us black people of their involvement in it. Now, it wasn't what the American slaves and all that beating and whipping and all of that. It wasn't to that scale, but there was some on that side too. But anyway, digress. But my point is that when you go there and you walk through the tunnel, I'm gonna see if I can describe this to y'all. So they got a women's cell, all right? When you go to the men's cell, right, you're walking in the tunnel and the light starts to dim down because of course you're literally going underneath. It's the castle and you're going like into the basement, okay?
Oh.
So when you go, there's only two little holes at the very top. And that's all the light that comes in, right? And so the stronger people, they have them chained up to the wall because they're stronger. So they want to make sure they're not out there trying to. Everybody else is just chained literally from like ankles and arms. You're just chained in this big room. And
yeah,
this is what's crazy about this. There was no bathroom. So everybody's just peeing, shitting, everything on the ground. So when you go into the castle and you look on the wall, see how high the shit was on. You can see the line on the wall. It still shows.
Wow.
On the wall.
Wow.
It's
that was over 400 some years ago.
Thank you. And then you can see crazy. The trench. So what they did, they built a trench to where they would try to like put the pee in and then put water so it would like move the all the shit out the. But of course, it's built up so much that it's like 2-3 feet. This is just in one cell, like literally in one. In the women's cell was worse because think about it. When like they're just, it's just man, it's an experience that will change you. It will change you.
I believe that.
Change you. It will. It's just everybody. Like I said, you got to go. You got to go. You got to go.
We definitely got to go.
And I have to say that, when kind of like, or when you really stop and you look at like our history and where we come from, mental health is key. It's okay to feel the way it's okay to be angry. It's okay. But you just got to get help. Because there is so much more life to give. I pray every day that, our times now are way different. Yeah. I mean, we can say, they're not exactly where they're at. I agree with that, but I'm just saying, but it's way different. Mental health, man. Don't like, you got to start letting stuff go. I sometimes feel like even myself overly sensitive, man, it just ain't worth it. Whatever it is that you are trying to do, whatever that goal is that you're trying to accomplish, you just that's what you got to point with that. I'd like to always point out for you goal people, because I'm a goal person too, but I don't ever look at a goal because to me, a goal is nothing. So I say this all the time. Stop writing these goals, man. Stop. Like immediately today, Quit.
Okay.
Instead of writing a goal, write a plan. A goal means
Oh, so
shit.
you can execute.
Correct. Oh man, I want to be a millionaire. Okay, great. How you gonna do it? I don't know, but that's my goal. Like you got,
Hmm.
and that's the problem, man. That's the problem. Everybody has a goal, and then the first question I say, man, how you gonna hit that goal? I don't know. Yeah, man, I
I
got.
got a quote I say where I say everybody want to be right, but everybody don't want to be real. So
I'm
everybody want to
telling
be
you.
this. They want to say they're gonna do it. They want to say they're gonna be this and how they gonna do it, but they don't really tell you the actual plan to how they can achieve their desired outcome.
Mike, man, I say it all the time, man. Like and then it's funny because when they start to give me different things, it's all over the place. So I always say, man, look at it like a ladder. Whether you want to take a 6-step ladder or a 10-step ladder. Let's take a 10-step ladder. There ain't no way in the world if I set up a 10-step ladder, I can jump from the ground to the 8th step and not fall down. There ain't no way. I got to go one step at a time to get to the top. Is with your plan.
Right.
Start small and work yourself up, but then it gives you something to look at and say, I've accomplished it. So many people are defeated because they're looking at the 5th step and you ain't even got to the 1st step. And that's the
Right.
thing. You got to go at a time at a time. You can go to sleep and you can say, oh man, I accomplished something. Even if it's just saving and people are like, yeah, I want to save $500. Okay, cool. Start with saving 20. Put $20 up. All right, man, I got $20. Cool. All right, now put 30. All right, oh man. And watch. By the time you get up to like 200, because you see it progressing, progressing.
You see your work.
Yeah, and then
So
it
look,
doesn't
because we could talk all night,
happen.
but I'm gonna cut it short here. But that also give y'all a reason to tune in because we're gonna bring the homie back on for another episode. We're gonna go even deeper and we're gonna both talk and share some other gems and jewels that we can impart and hopefully leave our mark on the future people, entrepreneurs, podcasters, real estate investors, and anyone else that's thinking about this. Look, it's never too late to start. I used to always believe it was I'm too old, I'm too this. It's never. You heard what I said. I might get on. Was it? Where is it? I got it in my notes here. Kojo Capital, yeah. And
Go,
I might get on Go Capital and see what y'all talking about. I want to own property. We talked about this already, so I can tell y'all I'm already hip. I'm already abreast to a lot of what he's talking about. But I wanted to give it to the people because, like you said, he want to give you the game. He's not holding it. He ain't trying to hold it over your head or leverage it for nothing. He's giving us free game. If you want to reach out to Chris, since he's busy and he doing what he do, I'll let him leave his info if he wants. But if not, reach out to me at MullitOverPodcast at gmail.com. Uh, Reach out, questions, comments, concerns. Chris, if you want to leave your info, cool. If not, we'll get it. I'll get the questions and I'll funnel them through me and we'll get them to you
nah. You
if
can
there's
hit
any
me.
question.
I'm not. I mean, I social media, but not like that. But mine is 1129. I think that's what my Instagram is. Hold on, this is how bad I am with this. Let me
Now
see.
you sound like me. You know, we ain't no good with these
Hey,
Instagrams and
hey,
all
showing
that.
our age
We
right now.
just
We like, man, how you work this? No.
terrible, ain't it? My
Yeah,
wife be on me all the time about it. Like, you got a whole podcast. You need to get on Instagram. I'm like, you right. I gotta get on it.
yeah,
I've
that's
been
it.
getting better though, y'all. And I ain't forgot to do my 15. Y'all got a new motivational coming tomorrow. Watch this. It's gonna be a quick snippet. We're gonna tap into something. I'm telling you, if y'all listen to this podcast, if you didn't gain nothing else from all that is talked about, gain this. The one thing you have that nobody has taken from you and no man can take from you unless it's permitted by God is time.
Mm,
It's priceless. Take your time, watch this again, rewind it, replay it. You see, I put a couple of the things up on the screen so you can see the Kogo Capital, you know, the LLC that you got to have, you know, Navy Federal Bank. He talked about a lot of stuff. Y'all got to do y'all part and tap in. In the words of FYBJ Main, do your homework. Do your homework.
Please.
What's being talked about. And don't just take his word for it. Dive into it and see it. And then maybe next episode we can bring you on and we all can sit and have a conversation. I'm not against that. My goal in this podcast, even right here, is somebody's listening, you just got some game.
Yeah.
You just got game. You just got knowledge on how to do more, be more, go further and farther and do more than what you ever thought you could. All you got to do is take away the fear. But before I end this, I want to say thank you for coming on. Just hang on to when I end this, don't hang up. But thank you for coming on. Thanks for blessing us with your time, your treasure, because money and all that's cool. But like I said, time is your true treasure. And for you to stop and spend an hour and 26 minutes and 10 seconds with us, we appreciate it. Me, my wife, my team, we appreciate it. And bro, we pray you nothing but success and victory and triumph over whatever it is that you attempt. I know you will succeed at whatever you try because we have taken away an option of failure. It's only up. It's only up. And our mindset says the sky is the limit. So y'all, I'm going to say this. Y'all know how I feel about time. And as far as this episode, that's mine. That's my time. Till next time. Peace. Tell them peace, C-boy.
We gone. Appreciate y'all. Love y'all.
God is trying to bless you. Let it go. Let it go. Your whole life is in the threshold. Whoever hurt you better let it go. Let it go. Love's the only way to go. Let's go.